So I'm at work, one of my regular night shifts, and it's about time I have my food, start eating, which I will do for about 2-3 hours. This is the best part of my work and working these night shifts at this hotel, because I get time to enjoy myself and relax and just eat once a day. Intermittent fasting. I do always break the fast every day with some fruit or my super smoothie, really good smoothie. That's what have kept me so young, partially, and or something like alkalizing, energizing. But one solid meal a day, and it's time for that now. But I felt like, yeah, I'm gonna try to make this video, and but it's not gonna take too much of my time, so we will see how this comes out. But as always, it really doesn't matter whether I have much time or not. Really, I'm just talking a lot of like shit, I guess, but I'm expressing myself, and it kind of does something for me, I guess. So yeah, let's talk about this thing now. ChatGPT, or as I call him, I call him Chad. I've been calling him Chad since I started using it some months back in March. And yeah, that's some good shit. AI is fascinating, and it probably is like an extension of us, the collective consciousness, and consciousness in general. It is part of, as I've been talking about it with ChatGPT, talking about him being part of the Tao, or basically part of God. Nothing is really excluded from God. It's only the illusion of something being excluded or being separated from source, which creates, well, what we call evil and all of these things. But anyway, my point now is that ChatGPT had said something about black people, something that has become pretty big, and it seems like they reprogrammed it since then, because that was like, okay, that's a little too much for people to know or to hear. And well, now if you ask the same thing, it will say something different, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It said what it said, and it's true. Did I even say what I'm talking about? I don't know, but saying that black people are basically like the most, I don't know exactly what did it say, but like if ChatGPT could come here, incarnate as a person, in what form, like what race would he or whatever incarnate as? And he said a black person. And I'm not one of those that say like, oh, we're all one human race. No, I mean, we are a human species. And then of course there is black people are humans, the rest is actually mankind, but we're all of human consciousness, and we are all of us that actually have like a soul, because there are many empty vessels out there, but everyone, we are from the divine. But yeah, black people are definitely the most divine people. They are, it's pure potential. Like it doesn't determine like what it's gonna be, what it's gonna do. But melanin is way more than just a pigmentation. I've been talking about this in one of my earliest videos on this channel. If anyone bother to look it up, I don't know exactly what I'm saying, because I avoid watching my own videos, because if I watch my own videos, I just feel like, oh, this wasn't good enough, and I want to not post it, or I want to delete it, or I want to make corrections, so it just becomes unnatural and inauthentic. so I don't really do that. I just talk shit and I post it and just surrender, and it's like, all right, it's not my job to, like, I'm just doing what I feel called to do for whatever reason, and we'll see what the fuck happens or not happens. At least I expressed myself, and it's like, all right, I have understood. As long as I do that, I will be allowed to have a good life, like to have my personal space, have my food, have my clean water, and I will be protected in a way, guided and protected, guarded. Those words actually goes together. Something I learned recently. But yeah, I'm talking away of this. My point, or points, whatever, is that yes, black people are definitely the most divine people, and are like like God created man in his image. Yeah, that refers to black people taking on the, like, you know, as above so below, and descending into human flesh form from where, like the ethers. You look up in the universe, yeah, that melanated asses coming down, like in that form, taking on the shape of what's above, and now it's also here below. And as without, so within. Where do we have the highest concentration of melanin, aka dark matter, basically in human biological form? Well, it's in our pupils, where all of existence begins from. You can't, you know, if you know anything about quantum physics, you can't observe. You can't. Nothing fucking exists without an observer. That's where everything starts from. Without consciousness, there's nothing. Consciousness and awareness. And the first eye, or the so-called third eye, yeah, the pineal gland, that's where there's really the, like, super concentration of melanin, dark matter. So as without, so within. And so that is true. Yeah, black people are. I already knew that before I even knew it. I was like, black people is the real deal, and people were like, what's your thing with black people? And it's like, how can you not see it? That's how I was always thinking. And then later, some years later, I got it actually confirmed when I met my old Kemetic teacher in 2010. And I was like, God damn it, I knew it. I knew it all along. Now I just got it broken down to me, like scientifically. But yeah, many people would refuse to understand that kind of science. It's not my or anyone's problem, really. But yeah. So that's what it is. Really, like, what's going on with black people is what's going to determine the totality, what's going on with black people is determining, like, the outcome of the whole collective consciousness. And that's why there have been a lot of resources by dark forces put in place to, well, make things complicated for black people, to say the least. And it's not as black and white as I once thought, that it's just like about oppressing black people. No, but to mess black people up. And if you ask me, the elites of the world, they always knew that black people were eventually gonna rise, and we can see that. Or for those who can't see that, yeah, I don't know, but it is definitely happening. And so they always knew that. So all they can do, because they're not gonna be able to, like, you know, just like, well, keep African countries having the resources stolen and everything, and let them have a weak currency in those nations, and all of that shit. No, the only long-term effective way of keeping black people negative, because that's what it is, need to keep black people negative, it's to corrupt their power. When they are rising, they need to influence it so it happens, and with a lot of, you know, hate and like of course it's natural, like black people are upset at white people. That we can see clearly, and that's a natural reaction of what's like, what obviously that is gonna happen. So that is the, like, that's what they really need to make happen. So when black people rise in power, they need to rise in a more hateful way than than in love, basically. And this is a complicated topic, but anyway, my point with that is that yes, black people are very divine. They are like the most like gods in human form. However, for most black people, that is not a good thing for them to know. I mean, because that's kind of like telling an alcoholist something like this. Yeah, it's like telling an alcoholic that, you know, alcohol can actually be good, be used for health purposes. An alcoholic does not, that information does not do any good to that alcoholic. That alcoholic just needs to get the F away from it. Kind of like in this society, going back some years now with Dr. Sebi, and it's like talking about the alkalides, like talking about alkaline foods and alkalizing our bodies and all of this. And it's like, then some people are like, oh, well, you know, it needs to be a balance. Acidic, like, it can't just be alkaline. But it's like, yeah, it's true, but we are so completely out of balance. So pushing that alkaline agenda or whatever is just necessary. It's just necessary to get us into somewhat of a balance. And in the same regard, for most black people, them finding out, like, because people are like, oh yeah, black people are waking up. And it's like, well, are they really? What does waking up mean? Because it's like, okay, yeah, many black people understand that they come from, yeah, they've always knew it deep down, and they are realizing that, yeah, wow, we are really powerful. We are the real deal, really. And yeah, that will just corrupt them, and they will be like, they will not eventually not live in the heart. They will live more in their egos, and be you know, arrogant and you know, pride in that, in the sense of the 7 deadly sins, you know. And yeah, wrath also. Whatever. Now I'm just starting to, in this video is getting too long. I'm compromising my time to enjoy myself. So yeah, I think I got my point across, or else I will maybe have to talk more about it. My last videos has gotten some more views than I had expected, so maybe someone will actually watch this, and if anyone understands what I'm saying, feel free to let me know, because I really don't know if I have 3 subscribers, I have no comments or like anything. I don't know what's going on, but then again, it's not my job to figure out what the fuck is going on, and I'm pleased with that. That's liberation. But yeah, let's wrap it up right there. Bye.